Hey guys, my name is Shivashankar Kamath. Welcome to Isha Vasya Divya Siddhi Academy. Let's listen to Gopal Prabhuji to learn top 10 life lessons. Stay tuned till the end of this video to learn more about the life lessons from Gopal Prabhuji.
I believe that the seven greatest, I would say the seven words which are the greatest enemy of growth and progress in any field, including what I'm doing, are we have always done it this way. Nokia thought we've always done it this way. They are out. Blockbuster thought they've always done it this way. Netflix threw them out. If I as a monk thought that we have always done it this way, the monks in the past have always spoken this way, they've always been this way, well, I would be out as well. My not wanting to be out was not because I wanted to be the center. My not wanting to be out was so that I can reach out to people and help make a difference in their lives. So obviously I had to change with times. Obviously I had to change my jargon. Obviously I had to bring in a punch of a bit of humor in there. Obviously I would have to speak lines which will resonate with people. It's like, I hate using the word, but it's like saying old wine in a new bottle.
Right.
Principles never change. Values never change. Knowledge and wisdom doesn't change. But how you bring it to people, that certainly can change. And I believe that's what's resonated with people. It's not that I'm saying anything new. It's the same wisdom, the same knowledge. Many people are speaking it. But just the way you package it. So Nokia failed in packaging themselves rightly, coming into digital photography. Right. Blockbuster denied when Netflix approached them. They're out. And if I think I don't change, I don't keep up with the times, well, I'm outdated. If you're not updated, you're outdated. Whether it's spirituality or the industry out there, it doesn't matter. I think when we talk about being in the present, we don't have to start getting into the present when the pressure is high. We need to start practicing being in the present when the pressure is low. There's a very nice quote that I read once in one of the barracks of the Indian Army, which said, when you sweat a lot in times of peace, you bleed less in times of war. Right. IPL, for instance, cricket.
Yes.
Now, when the match is on, the world tournament's on, the competition stops. You're right there, under the spot, which means the pressure is high and you need to be focused, you need to be present. You can only do it effectively when you learn to be present in the smaller things of life. I often tell people that when we talk about being present, one thing that we should start practicing is start being physically present. Like I give the example, I have a glass of juice here, When I'm sipping this mango juice, why do I need to watch television? Why do I have to keep checking messages on my phone? What I'm doing by looking at the television, by looking at the phone, is being distracted from drinking the juice. So if I'm drinking the juice, let me just drink the juice. What's happening is I'm being present, physically present. Now, it's not so much about just drinking the juice, but about cultivating the attitude behind drinking the juice, of being present in what I'm doing. I also tell people, beyond being physically present, we need to also be emotionally present. Very often you see people today are talking to each other, chatting with each other. They're looking around here and there. They're scrolling on their phones. They're looking at their messages. They're sending WhatsApp messages. What they're doing is they're completely getting distracted and not learning to live in the now. Being emotionally present means when I'm talking to you, for instance, I am with you. I'm not looking at this plant behind me. I'm not looking at the camera here. I'm not looking at the cup of juice. I'm looking at you. I'm soaking in every single word as you speak. Now, it's not just about speaking. It's about cultivating the attitude of being present. Whether you drive a Volkswagen or you drive a Bentley, the road remains the same, doesn't it? Whether you speak on a Samsung or you speak on an iPhone X whoever you're calling remains the same, isn't it? Whether you're flying economy or you're flying business, the destination where you're heading remains the same, isn't it? Whether you're wearing a simple fast track or you wear an Omega or a Rolex, the time remains the same, isn't it? It's quite amazing how we work ourselves up so much with increasing the standard of living that we forget to increase the standard of our life. And which is why wherever I travel, I make an appeal to people. There's nothing wrong with an Omega. There's nothing wrong with a Bentley. God bless you with that, and if you have it, drive it, no problem. But in trying to enhance and increase and improvise the standard of your living, please, do not compromise with the standard of your life. It's not the standard of your living that makes you happy. It's the standard of your life that makes you happy. And very often, we forget to give attention to those things that can truly make us happy. Which is why I always say, things that I'm talking about, they have utility value, right? Not happiness value. Travel business class or first class. Travel, no problem. Drive a Bentley, no problem. But in doing so, never, ever compromise on those principles that also improve the standard of your life. And therefore, I always say, some people are so poor, so absolutely poor that all they have is money. That's all they have. That's all they have. I consider that life a poverty-stricken life. If all you have is money, you're the poorest person in the world. Because there's more to life than money. And there's way more to life than what money can buy. And therefore I many times say, if you want to truly know how rich you are, drop a tear and see how many hands come forth to wipe that tear. Ladies and gentlemen, our happiness and our increased standard of life is not in things, it's in people. It's relationships. It's meaningful, heartfelt, deep bondings of love that bring fulfillment to the heart. It's those meaningful exchanges of love that we share with each other in relationships that brings true joy to the heart. And isn't it the greatest irony that something that brings in the greatest fulfillment, we very conveniently neglect in just running after increasing and enhancing our standard of living. The pencil maker told the pencil that, what is truly important is what lies within you. So yes, externally we have our work, externally we have our personality, but internally, as a person, we have to also develop. So pencil is about finding the balance between the external and the internal. The external is the casing, the internal is the lead that makes an impact. So while we lead a life of valuables externally, we must also prioritize the values internally. While we lead a life of personality externally, we also need to prioritize being a good person internally. While we live a life of charisma externally, we also need to live a life of character internally. So the balance between the external and the internal is the balance of the lead in the pencil and the casing of the pencil. Yeah. I think there's this one aspect that we all need to accept and come to terms with in life. There's going to be things that are beyond our control. Let's not fight this back. And let's not come into the mode of controllership thinking that everything's in my hands. That thinking that everything's in my hands can disappoint us, frustrate us when things don't go our way. So I think that's one aspect that I talk about is come to terms with it that there's going to be things that don't go my way. Yeah. And everything doesn't go by my watch. Life has its watch. Higher powers have their watch and things will come to us. Also, there's this bulbs right up here. Yeah. They're lighting up the whole studio where we're shooting. It's quite amazing. These bulbs giving their light. But there's many bulbs in the storeroom who are waiting there to come in the studio and give their light so that the shooting can happen. When will that bulb in the studio ever get a chance to come up here? Now the beauty of life is that the bulb up here doesn't last forever.
Doesn't, yeah.
No bulb has lasted forever, and no bulb will last forever. No speaker has lasted forever. No speaker will last forever. No actor has lasted forever in terms of their fame. No actor will last forever. No athlete, no sports person has lasted forever, and no sports person will last forever. Just like this bulb. Everyone has their time. Everyone has their day. And that day doesn't last forever.
Ever.
So which basically means the bulb here won't be there one day. And the bulb in the storeroom is going to get its chance to come to the lampshade one day to light up the studio. You know what? The question in the mind of that little bulb there is, I agree, sir, all this philosophy understood. Sounds good, all this gyan.
Yes.
Sounds great. All this gyan sounds great.
Yeah.
But how do I continue until then?
That is the question.
So I think the parameter, the principle, the value, the ethic that actually helps us continue with perseverance and patience is hope.
Yes.
Hope is that one element that can keep us going. The worst thing to happen in life is to lose hope and be hopeless.
Correct.
So if we're sitting there waiting for our turn to come, hope against hope. One day, I will also have my time and my place. When, how, we do not know, because these are factors that are completely beyond our control. So his question is, how does luck or destiny, what role does it play in victory or success? Right? Is it all hard work? Is it all destiny? What is it? Now, in my humble opinion, destiny is the situations that come to you, which are beyond your control. For example, you didn't choose your parents. Did any of you choose your parents? You were destined. That was destiny. You were born. ऐसा नहीं बोले ये मेरी बाप, ये मेरे माँ, मैं अवतार दूंगा इनसे. Have you ever thought like that? Never. Did you ever choose your looks? ऐसा नाक होगा, ऐसा कुछ. Do you choose? No one looks as good as their Facebook profile picture, and no one looks as ugly as their Aadhaar card picture. No one. No one looks like that. Correct? So situations are destiny. You didn't choose them. They came to you. If someone comes and insults me, I didn't choose it. It came to me. That situation is destined. But my response to those situations is my choice. Response is not destiny. What I choose is my choice. And when I choose it, that decides my future destiny. This is why they say man is the maker of his destiny, not situations. Situations will remain what they are, but how you respond to those situations is completely and entirely your choice. You have that situation which is destined. Now you have a choice to work hard, to cultivate that attitude. That attitude is not destiny. That attitude is a choice. And when you choose that attitude, hopefully victory will come to you right away. Even if it doesn't come to you right away, you have sown the seed that will pay back. The seed that is sown will certainly fructify. Now, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, or later. This is why persistence, sticking it out, is so much essential. The word mindfulness is a big thing in the world today. I was in San Francisco and I was invited to speak at Salesforce.
Okay.
And Mark Benioff, one of the things he's done at Salesforce is he has prioritized mindfulness for every single employee. every single floor of their headquarters in Salesforce has a mindfulness zone. People can go there, practice mindfulness. In fact, every year they have this conference called Dreamforce in the month of November. Or 200,000 American top-notch professionals come for the conference. And in that 4 to 5 days conference, the last day is a mindfulness day, where they invite people who can speak to these professionals so that they can learn the art of internally connecting, stabilizing their minds, because even Mark Benioff realized that when people are together, the output is much greater than when they're just distracted and lost. So the paycheck is never an issue. But if you cut corners, the organization never grows. So I think, yes, even in terms of profitability and organizational growth, spirituality does make a difference, because it gives a person good character, integrity, a certain values, where a person contributes the most. When I talk about self-confidence, I talk about trying to be the best version of yourself. We are constantly updating our apps. We are constantly updating our operating systems, whether it's an iOS or an Android.
Yeah.
And the updation of the apps or the operating systems means to bring the best versions of what exist.
Yes.
And whenever you're updating to a higher version of yourself, you have to be able to give the best of yourself to it.
Okay.
If you stick to the older version, you reach the plateau and you don't have to work harder. But when you update yourself to a higher version, you have to give the best of yourself and 200% of your energy there.
Yeah.
Hard work, coming out of the comfort zone. Which is why many times I say, you are your own competition actually.
That's true.
Nobody is your competition.
That's true.
We have to compete with ourselves every single moment, every single day, to get better than ourselves, to get the better versions of ourselves, to get the best version of ourselves. So when I talk about self-confidence, I talk about being the best version of yourself and having that full confidence that I can crack it. I can get there. It's amazing how money can be known by so many different ways. In a temple, church, or charity, it's called a donation. In a school, it's called a fee. In a marriage, dowry. And in a divorce, alimony. When you owe money to someone, it's called a debt. When you pay it to the government, it's called a tax. In a court, it's a fine. When you receive it regularly after retirement, it's called a pension. When an employer gives it to a worker, it's called a salary. When a master gives it to a servant, it's called a wage. When children receive it, it's an allowance. And when you borrow it from a bank, it's called a loan. When you offer it after a good service, it's called a tip. When paid to a kidnapper, it's called a ransom. When illegally received in the name of a service, it's called a bribe. And when used to share and to serve others, it's called happiness. There's nothing wrong in possessing money. The problem is when money possesses you. Earn more money, fulfill your needs, utilize your money to share and serve others, and transform the value of your money from currency to happiness. I'm a simple, small person. In Sanskrit, there is a verse which says, Mukam karoti vachalam. Even a dumb man can speak. Panghum langhayate girim. Even a lame man can cross a mountain. Yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. It's by the grace of Shri Guru and God that one can do what we are doing. And therefore, if you ask me what is my motivation to keep going, I don't even think I'm inspiring millions or crores, as you said. People are watching and people are hearing. It's not my knowledge. It's the knowledge coming from God. It's the knowledge coming from my Guru and so many other monks in the monastery from whom I learn. I simply act as a microphone. A microphone simply amplifies the voice of the speaker. So if there's something that's motivating people, it's not me. It's the knowledge and the power of that grace that is behind me, which is unseen to your eyes. You can't see that, but that's the life that I live. When you don't see me on screens, I'm in a monastery in a small little room, every morning practicing my spiritual sadhana.
Every morning connecting to God through the chanting of the holy names. Every morning I sit and listen to the other monks. I'm not only speaking, I sit there, I hear others, I learn from them. And I'm tremendously inspired by the picture that I showed you, Srila Prabhupada, his life. I'm tremendously inspired by his example. And of course, my Guru Radhanath Maharaj, who tirelessly keeps on going and serving. If there's anything that motivates me, it's my chanting, it's my hearing, and it's the company of my Guru and other like-minded monks. That's what keeps me going. So if you have that company, you will also be able to.
Thank you for watching this video. Keep watching our videos. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. Wishing you all the best.